All right, family, here we go. We are live. It's Nikki Thomas. You're watching Nikki Thomas TV somewhere. I'm live on Facebook, I'm live on LinkedIn, and I'm live on YouTube right now. The power of technology, right? So, usually about this time, I'd be jumping on here saying, "Hi, I'm Nikki. Welcome to Liberation Lounge." But tonight is something special. We're going to be talking about liberation and really creativity, or better yet, liberation through creativity. However, it is a takeover show featuring AfroSolo Theater Company. Now, you may have been seeing my posts lately. I am stepping on stage in an all new way this weekend. As a matter of fact, tomorrow is opening night for Hope in Our Hearts, presented by Afro Solo Theater. So, I thought we would jump on and talk a little bit about what's actually happening because I don't know, I don't think everybody's connected the dots yet on how far back Afro Solo is in my journey, the one that I'm going to talk about on stage, how we're connected, and what kind of wonderful things they're doing in the community and has been doing in the community. So I am so glad that you guys are here. When you jump on and you be like, "Oh, hey, I'm in here. Oh, Nikki's on live." Please say something in the comments to let me know where you're watching from. If there's anything at all that you need me to know in the moment, just go ahead and throw it in the comments. All right, so it's really special and it's really full circle. And you know what? I got one more thing to add. I've actually worked behind the scenes with Afro Solo for some years now. Okay, but we'll talk more about that when I bring on our very, very special guest. Whew, this is all new for me. You know what I mean? We've been in community for a long time, 20 plus years at KBLX, but I don't know. I don't know if y'all see what I'm doing. It's like Patti LaBelle back in the 80s. I got a new attitude. You remember Patty's ooh 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 ooh? I got a new attitude. That's a new leash on life. It's a new me emerging. So I want to bring on the artistic director of Afro Solo Theater. He's literally one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. Thomas Robert Simpson is here. How are
Hello
you?
there. I'm doing great, Nikki, and thank you for allowing me to come and share some of this time with your liberation congregation.
Wait a minute. I love when stuff happens live and in the flesh. Liberation congregation. I'm stealing it and I'm using it from now on. Thank you, Thomas.
You can have it. It's wonderful, and it's for real.
And this is why you're an artistic director, because you just have these sparks of creativity just bouncing off of you.
And
Um,
this whole idea about creativity, you never know where it's going to come from, and sometimes you're right. It's just like boop, it pops out, and it's there.
yeah, exactly. So, that's really one of the things I want to talk about this evening. But what I want to do first is tell our story, Thomas, because I'm trying to remember the details of our first meeting, but maybe you do. Do you remember your first?
My mind is not as sharp as it used to be. But from what I remember, I went into KBLX
Mhm.
because my publicist, whose name at that time was Victoria Kirby, who
Oh.
was a wonderful publicist,
Uh-huh.
and she told me about KBLX, which unfortunately I didn't know as much about as I should have.
Mhm.
And this personality named Nikki Thomas. So I'm kind of like nervously going in there to speak on the radio and what's
Mhm.
going to be happening. And
Mhm.
they usher me into this little room where we had these, I don't even call them A tracks, but reel to reel kind
Real
of.
to real, baby. That's how long ago this was.
And we had the microphones where we could talk, and you were operating everything. And what I remember feeling was very comfortable. I remember
Oh.
feeling kind of taken care of.
Mm.
I felt like this is going to be okay. So
Wow.
those, as Maya, Dr. Maya Angelou says,
Mhm.
we may not remember the facts, but we remember the feelings.
Mm.
And I remember the feeling of just warmth and comfort there. Um, well, as soon as I walked in the door, and coming back into the studio just added to that. And I thought we had some really wonderful conversations at that time, and I greatly appreciate it.
I love that. I remember that you came into KBLX and I was still very bright eyed.
Yes.
I was still very bright eyed. I was here in the Bay. And the thing is, I'm going to tell this story on stage this weekend. Coming how I ended up at KBLX, how I ended up in the Bay. And to be honest with you, it really was just a bunch of guardian angels.
Mm.
Some that are living and some that had passed on. They were all working and put that path like the Billie Jean video. You know how it just lit up every time?
Mhm.
But I was here and I was so happy to be here. And I was so humbled. And again, wide eyed, bright eyed. And you told the story about Afro Solo Theater. And I thought it was the best thing ever. And if I recall, you came and spoke to me a few years in a row every time you had the Afro Solo Arts Festival. And it's one of those stories that I don't care how many times I hear the story about the origins of Afro Solo Theater, I never get tired of hearing it. So I want you to start there with the folks that are watching and listening right now and tell us how Afro Solo all began.
Afro Solo is it's a wonderful story that, sometimes when things happen, you kind of take them for granted, but in reality, they're quite special. And
Mm-hmm.
the longer we are around, the more special it seems to me. But what happened was I was turning 39.
Mm-hmm.
It was 19, wow, 1991. So you can tell my age by that. And at the time, there was a television show called 30 something.
Mm-hmm.
Since this was my last years of 30 something, I wanted to do something special.
Yeah.
So what I did was I invited a number of my artist friends to have a performance party.
Mm.
There were dancers, there was musicians, the poets, dramatic readings, acting. I had it catered. We had this very special place where it was,
Mm-hmm.
and it was almost like magical. And it went so well that as I got close to 40, people asked me, "What are you going to do for your birthday?" And I said, "I don't know." And they said, "Why don't we have another performance party?" So we had another performance party, and that one went well. Then the next year we had another performance party, and that went well. And I started thinking, wow,
Mm.
this would make a nice annual event. So in 1994, we had our first festival.
Mm.
We had it out at the City College, the Diego Rivero Theater.
Uh-huh.
Just wonderful. And at that time, we were very young and very ambitious. We had four different artists each night for 3 nights.
Mm-hmm.
So there were 12 artists in 3 days.
Mm.
And then we brought a special guest in from New Orleans,
Mm.
Jumbo, John O'Neill. You've probably heard of John O'Neill. He was our first guest that
Wow.
opened up Afro Solo. Now, John O'Neill is a legend. I think he's passed now
Mm-hmm.
in the performing arts field. And he had this story at that time called Don't Ask Me No Question. I'll tell you the whole story. It was wonderful. Um, so the idea was to showcase local artists and then bring in special guests. The next year we did it, we had Ruby D as our special guest, and she was marvelous. And I didn't know how to speak to her. I was like, should I call you Miss D or Miss Ruby or how should I address you? She said, honey, just call me Ruby.
That's my favorite part of the story right there. That's
Uh,
my favorite part, that the beautiful Ruby D, that you gathered folks. Let me jump in and ask you a quick question. Sometimes I feel some kind of way about reaching out to folks, period.
mhm.
But to say you're going to reach out to such an iconic person, were you just that fearless, or did you have to do something to work up the nerve, or did somebody call on your behalf? How did that happen?
Well, I've always loved Ruby D.
Mm-hmm.
And I did some, searching around, try how can I possibly get her? I'll
Mm-hmm.
try. So I found that she had this agent. So I called this agent who worked with her,
Okay.
who was very nice and very good. And this little Afro solo that nobody ever heard of. And he made it seem like we were doing something very special. So he reached out to her for us.
Yeah.
And he reached back and said, she said yes. And it was just phenomenal. She came in from Canada where she was shooting, and it was really nice. I talked to some hotels at that time, the Fairmont Hotel. We said, we don't have much money, but we've got this special person coming in. Is there a possibility that you can be a sponsor? And the Fairmont said yes. So she stayed there, got her rest, came in that night. And one other special thing about Ruby D was as she was getting ready to go on, I said, okay, now, Ruby, break a leg. And she said, oh, Thomas, we don't say that anymore. I'm embarrassed. I'm like, what do we say? She said, now we say, go soar. We say, go soar. And I use that now to tell people to go soar. And I got that from Ruby D.
Oh, see, I love connecting the dots like this. There's so many bits in there, and I'm gonna share a little bit. There's certain things that I'm really just learning at my big grown age. If we're talking about being grown folks, um, I had the big KBLX machine behind me for many years,
Yes.
and I discovered that you know, without it, there was a lot of my own work that I had to do that I had no clue how to do. I didn't have the nerve to do. I was too
Mm-hmm.
scared to do. And
Mm-hmm.
I had a very strange vision of myself that was way smaller than what it really was.
Yes.
Does everybody have this?
I
I,
think
I
what
thought
do they call that syndrome? There's a syndrome they call it,
imposter
imposter
syndrome
syndrome.
maybe.
I think we all have some of that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So I love hearing stories like that because it plants those new seeds in there. Yes, you can. And it feels actually comforting to know that everybody has a little taste of it every now and then,
Yes.
but you can get into action and defeat that strain. It's just a feeling.
Yeah.
That's the thing, it's just a feeling. So that was one of my favorite stories ever, that you said, hey, my birthday, I'm going to do something special. You had to make sacrifices. You had to make phone calls. You had to call in some friends and some favors and do many, many, many things
Yes. There
to
was no
pull this
email.
off.
There was no
Mhm.
email back then. It was telephone.
So it is the most inspiring stories, and I did so many of those. It was a public affairs show called Bayview.
Yes.
That was the name of it, and I loved Bayview. Why? Because I got to connect with folks from the community. I always knew what was happening. I always knew like great things like AfroSolo that was happening, and I got my foot in the door with a great community of people. So I loved that part of it. I loved that I got to be a part of things that were so wonderful and so big and creative. Um, so, like I said, I did dozens and dozens of Bayview interviews, and I remember, a good handful of them. Yours is at the top of the list, Thomas, where it was like, man, that had to be probably 2002, 2003, somewhere along in there, that we sat down for the first time.
Yes.
And I will never ever forget. It's in here now. So let me do a little radio something called a segue,
Okay.
right?
Before I do that, I want to say that you helped make those things happen
Oh,
by your
thank you so
personality
much.
and being the burglar bugler, the person who shouts out what's going on in the San Francisco, what's going on in the Bay Area,
Uh
and
huh.
people knew you for that, and people listened to you and paid attention to you, and you helped us. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Thomas. And what I'm gonna say is that what we have to realize, it, I was a part of it, but it was
Yeah.
a whole lot of hands in that.
Yes.
It was
Oh,
me, it
definitely.
was
Yeah.
KBLX, it was that
Yes.
show, it
Yes.
was Kevin Brown, it
Yes.
was the folks who, say, oh, oh, I listen all, it was so many different pieces. And see, my segue is still good because this is what we're talking about when you say hope in our hearts. That's the name of our show this weekend.
Mhm.
And hope in your heart is that spark, that mustard seed, hallelujah,
Yes.
the mustard seed of faith.
Hmm.
Because you could doubt yourself 99%. And
Yes.
all you need is that 1% of that mustard seed, that 1% of that hope in your heart. And you if you just if 10 minutes out of your day you believe in yourself, that's plenty. I'm
Hmm.
gonna pick up the phone and call Ruby D. I'm gonna pick up the phone and call these folks and see if they'll sponsor my birthday event. That's all you need. It's
The
all
next
you
year we
need.
had Dick Gregory in
Oh,
'96, and then in 2002 we had Mavis Staples. So, but our focus has always been showcasing local artists and bringing up people. But we wanted to sparkle with the celebrities also. So
mm-hmm.
we've had some wonderful experiences over these last 30 plus years.
I love that's a good gumbo. I'm from New
Mm,
Orleans. A gumbo, you got big stuff
mhm,
in there. You got small
mhm,
stuff. You got it's
mhm.
the right combination of things. So before we go on to our next question, there is a QR code here for you to get your tickets for the show. So this conversation is wonderful, but let me tell you something. For AfroSolo to continue doing the work that it's doing, number one, supporting artists. Number two, celebrating creativity and Black voices,
Yes,
because I think sometimes people hear the word black and they think that's trying to be a division. No, we're just trying to tell our own stories. That's
right,
it. We're
right.
telling our own stories. So, for example, everybody that ever came through the doors at KBLX has a story. There's only one Nikki story.
Yes.
So, this weekend, the name of my what do you call it? Performance. I got to learn all the lingo words if I'm going to be a
It's your
theater person.
performance piece.
My performance piece is called Soul of the Bay. And that will be familiar to you if you're a KBLX listener. Soul of the Bay. That was my favorite one of all time, of the taglines we use. Soul of the Bay. And that because I felt that's what KBLX was.
Mm, mhm.
So, scan the QR code, get your tickets. The good news is that you can see it in person. You can come to the Potrero stage in San Francisco, or you could watch the live stream wherever you are. Just share this video with all your folks. Share it to your page and say, you know what, Nikki's on. She is going to do a theater performance this weekend. She's going to tell her story. Um, let folks know so that we can support this particular show is happening this weekend only. So Friday, we got all the times up here, Friday and Saturday night, and then Sunday there's a matinee, Mother's Day.
Yes.
Hmm. So this is a wonderful way to celebrate. We're talking about, I know for me personally, I'm talking about the women who planted this mustard seed of faith, right? And who
Yes.
supported my entire journey in the Bay.
Yes.
So that's the bottom line right now. I think it's great if you're on here and you go, oh, that's Nikki and that's Thomas, and they look cute. Okay, great. We receive it.
Well, you touched on something a few moments ago, and
Mm-hmm.
that is they might see me, but
Mm-hmm.
there are a whole lot of folks holding me up to make sure everything happens. It does
Absolutely.
become a community, and the
Yeah.
community of people who come to view the events, to be in our audience, to share the stories, and we have dialogue sometimes. That's really critical, and we would not exist without people like people in your congregation coming to support us, but also being inspired, uplifted, motivated,
Yes.
all those things that happens when you see somebody perform live.
Yes. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Thomas. Um, Also, folks, don't let's not get distracted. Use the QR code and scan and get some tickets. Okay. But let's jump back into what you just said. Um, it when you say hope in your hearts, I love that you named it this. Um, it is that what you're talking about. It's like it's so many people that come together. Sometimes it feels like we're alone, but that's never true.
Yes.
That's never true. So this is a beautiful title. You shared with us Go Soar, how you got the title for that. That was one of the Afro Solo shows from recent years. Hope in Our Hearts. How'd that jump into your spirit?
I pondered what the theme for this one would be. And I was thinking about things happening in the world. And we don't want to get off into our president. But the things that are happening can be so dire
Mm-hmm.
and it can be so dreary that
Mm-hmm.
somehow or other there has to be that little spark of hope that we can, even if it's like that little mustard seed or half a
Yes.
mustard seed or whatever, that we can cling on to help us move past the fear and some of the other things. Because hope has, for me, has to do with resilience, with moving forward, with thinking about where we are and where we want to go. And when I think about hope, I think of something that is uplifting, something that's inspiring at times when we may not feel that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also was thinking about a number of things that are happening in terms of African Americans in the community right now, the
Mm-hmm.
number of Black women who've lost their jobs
Yeah.
the last year, and the number of women who participated way back in the civil rights movement.
Hmm.
Kind of wonder, why, things seem to be going backwards. And I wanted to showcase one of my sisters who
Mm.
was in the civil rights movement in Nashville, who right now is 79 and having some health issues.
Mm.
I interviewed her 10 years ago about what she did, why she did it, what happened. I had it in my phone for like 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
This performance sparked me to get it out of the phone and do something with it.
Yeah.
So I put it into my computer and turned it into a podcast. And it's a glorious story about her protesting, being hurt, what happened afterwards, her family. It's a very interesting personal journey.
Yeah.
And it's important for what's happening today.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Um, so yours too is about a woman who shaped you and
Yes.
put that hope in the right place. Um, I think it's awesome that we have these great tools that our phones can do so much, that our computers and laptops can do so much, and that social media gives us this place for everybody to land. Hey, here's my page.
Yeah.
Follow me here. So I often wish that our, you know, ancestors had social media. Then you could just, oh, let me just find out everything I need to know. I could, scroll down their whole lives, the pictures and everything. I think it's wonderful that we have this tool. And I know, some people use it in strange ways, but I think the gist of what it's doing, it
Yes.
gives us a lot of power, it gives us a lot of identity, it gives us a platform. I love that I can sit in my living room and make these designs here and create an Afro Solo takeover on my page,
Yes.
and I don't need the big machine behind me all the time.
Yes.
And I can say what I want. I think it's a powerful thing.
Oh, it's a powerful.
It
Just
is it's super powerful. So,
now, I'm going to say I do have some friends who poo-poo it, who aren't into AI or not ready for it yet.
right.
But as they say, it's here,
Mm-hmm.
it's coming,
Mm-hmm.
and I hope that more of us can begin to embrace it so we don't get left behind.
Yeah, there's always a lot of fear when there are new
Yes.
things.
Yes.
When the things are going to evolve, you cannot, get past that. You and I have this discussion all the time about how sometimes it's whole crash outs about just getting into a Zoom, just doing the things. And it's like technical difficulties happen. It's not the end of the world. It's not a reflection on you. There's
Hmm.
nothing wrong with you if you can't,
Hmm.
find the right button to put,
Right.
you know. So it's delicate, but at the same time, it's so much growth. And I love to see that you are not afraid to experiment with AI and all these other things. So, this, I don't know, this is why we get along creatively, Thomas, just because, we like to, we're just not afraid of these things. And fear is just not, it's never a good thing. We shouldn't get to the point where, I know we talk about being grown and having senior moments, but we should never get to the point where we're afraid to try new stuff.
Right, right. And
Hmm.
30 years ago, 30, close to 40 years ago, I was volunteering at a place here in San Francisco when Apple first came out with their computers.
Mm.
And they asked me if I would do something on their Apple. And I was totally scared.
Yeah.
I thought if I touched the wrong button, that all of their information was going to go away. So I refused to do that out of fear. So from there, the learning process, learning
Hmm.
curve to where
Hmm.
I am now has been amazing. So for some people who are at that place now around AI, there can be a learning curve, and in a few years you might be at a different place.
Yeah, it's great. I was afraid for many years myself when people started buying like home computers and stuff. And child, when I finally got mine, I would turn into a beast. So yeah, it's really powerful. AI. Everybody has like some concerns, but there's also again lots of power. Saves you lots of time, and I feel like you can be in your genius. If I don't have to worry about this, if I know I have some help with this, I can go be great over here. So,
Yes.
so it's wonderful. Um, so let's go back to your piece.
Okay.
And what was your sister a little hesitant to tell her story, or was she?
Oh no, because we had talked about it over years, and there was a little bit of recognition that she was beginning to get, because right afterwards things kind of died down and people didn't talk about it.
Hmm.
And that was one of the things. My other sister was a freedom rider. When she came back from being in jail, she said nobody wants to talk about that. That was back in
Ah.
'61.
Mm.
So as we got a little bit, closer, the late uh, 90s and then to the 20s, people begin to talk about it. So she's ready to talk. And she has some stories, like I said, of being beaten and being
Mm.
unconscious and being hurt um, at rallies. And I've got this one photo, if I can find it, maybe I can show
Hmm.
it, but it's a photo of her at a rally
Hmm.
walking by two police beating a young black man.
Oh my goodness.
And it's the kind of thing she like, you kind of like, you want to see it, but you don't want to see it, because if you see it and you do something, it might be you. But those moments, but she talked about they'd gone through some training, and they had to go through training before they could go on their marches because they had to be nonviolent.
Mm.
And they were trained to not interfere with the police, uh, and a lot of things that we might feel are poo poo now, but have helped, like our ancestors.
Yeah.
They got us where we are.
Thank you. Thank you. Say it again, Thomas, because sometimes it is. I think I say this in my piece, talking about being in survival mode.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Listen, it's a part of life.
Yeah.
Sometimes that is where we are, and that's all we can do for the moment.
Yes.
From day to day, week to week. Some days it's like I'm on the couch, brain dead.
Yes.
you know, and then some weeks it's like the ideas are pouring out, and I'm making all these great connections. We have to learn how to embrace all the things.
Yeah.
So
And
sometimes all that's all you can do is survive, and there is something greater on the
yes.
horizon.
Yes.
Um, so I will say that Afro Solo for me, that's what it represents. It represents, I will say that for me, I grew up as that kid. I did theater and speech debate, and I figured I was just gonna be the next Beyonce, and I was gonna marry Michael Jackson, and I want to do all these things. But I know at some point I stopped considering myself creative or a creative person.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got to a certain age, I said, you know what? When did I stop
Mm-hmm.
being creative? So I feel like Afro Solo and all of the arts that we can expose ourselves to gives us that, again, that seed where it awakens your creativity. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to all jump on stage. It doesn't mean we're going to all sing or dance. But what it means is that you can be the creator of your life and of your experience, and you understand the power that you have.
Right.
It, So I am so thankful to you, and really any of the folks,
Yeah.
specifically in the Bay, who are doing creative things and they make it important and big. You
Hmm.
know, I talked to so many organizations, and when I did that Bayview show with so many organizations, it was all about funding. And it was like when it came down to how we vote, the arts are the last thing, that's going to get access to the funds that they need.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, that is so strange to me because that is what makes us human. That's what keeps us alive. That's what keeps us ticking to do everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you need that mustard seed we're talking about, that
Yeah.
spark, that hope in your heart, scan the QR code, get your tickets. You're going to see me on stage, not hosting an event,
Yeah.
not on the radio, but
Yeah.
telling my story on stage. Whoo, I thank you so much for giving me this
Yeah.
opportunity,
And there
Thomas.
are two other people who will be on stage uh, the night with us. And
Tell
this
us
is the
more.
whole idea about this creativity. And I want to say that I think everybody has a story.
Uh-huh.
I think everybody's creative.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you may be creative in just how one dresses. You know, I'm not a fashionista, but some people have that art in how they dress. And it can be
Mm-hmm.
something simple but elegant, or it can be outrageous and elegant. But some people have that. Some people can cook up a storm,
Yeah.
and their art can be in cooking. So everybody doesn't have to be on stage uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
to showcase their talents.
Mm-hmm.
But the people that we do have
Yes.
and the diversity of our stories is what's important to me. Now, one of the people tomorrow, his name is Michael Warr,
Mm-hmm.
who's a poet.
Yeah.
He's from San Francisco. His mother and father took photos of Black San Francisco back in the day, in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Now, most of the places, or a lot of the places that the photos were taken are different now. And he thinks a lot of people see those spaces or travel in those spaces and don't know what happened before.
Hmm.
So, as an internationally known poet, what he's done is gone and taken photos of those places now. And he's going to tell the story between the then and the now in terms of San Francisco,
Mm-hmm.
the journey of San Francisco, which I'm excited about. He's a published poet, a published writer. So, Michael Warr is a dynamic guy.
Mm.
Now, the other guy, his story is completely different. This gentleman is a gentleman who spent time in prison.
Yeah.
And I worked a few years ago having men who had spent time in prison begin to write their stories. He's worked with a number of other organizations in terms of writing his story. So his story is going to be about the journey of being in prison,
Mm.
finding out who he is as a person
Yeah.
to move forward.
Yeah.
And it kind
Yeah.
of reminds me in some ways, now I don't know his whole story because we'll hear about that tomorrow and I wouldn't want to tell it. I'd
Right.
like to have him tell a story. Kind of on a different level, a Malcolm X kind of story
Mm-hmm.
in the
Mm-hmm.
sense that things
Mm-hmm.
happened. He wound up going to jail and there were some things that clicked while he was there. So when he was able to get out and move forward with help from other people, he can tell this wonderful story tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think will provide hope
Uh-huh.
for other people who may be going through difficult times.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
his name is Tony Dejon
Cyprien.
Cyprien.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
told, and I told,
there'll be four performers. There'll be four different performances each night.
yes, every night, all of us are performing. I know some people rest like, you're gonna be there every day. Oh, we're gonna be
Yeah.
there every night. So
Yes.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday afternoon.
Yes.
So it's 3 opportunities. I think Sunday is going to be great. I'll be nice and warmed up by then. It's a Mother's Day performance.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful place. I love the Potrero stage. There's been a few AfroSolo performances there. It's cozy. There is the live stream option if you're watching from wherever, the moon or wherever. If you got Wi-Fi and you're watching this, you could support AfroSolo and
Yes.
watch the live stream.
Yes.
It's almost like you're sitting right there in the
Yes.
audience. And we would love your support either way. But now, for me personally, I want to see your face in the place. I want to
Yes.
see some butts in those seats.
Yes.
And I know for me, it makes me feel, if it feels wonderful to see the faces, because for a long time it was just me and the microphone,
Right.
but
Right.
I get to see people, and that people take time to come and see anything that I'm doing. Whew, okay, that's always emotional.
Yeah.
So we want to
And
see you for a few different reasons, and we've got a wonderful show for you.
yes. I just want to share that if people are watching it on stream, just to be sure your time zone. We are in Pacific time, but it can
Yes.
be watched anywhere in the world. Just know
Mm-hmm.
your time zone to be able to catch it. And we are very uh, cognizant of money
Yeah.
and funds.
Mm-hmm.
So our programs are free to pay what you can.
Mm.
So we don't want money to be a barrier. So from zero up to like $35. And we'd rather you be there no matter what you're able to afford or not able to afford.
Yeah. Now that being said, can we pay more if we want to pay more?
Oh, we can always take more. Yes.
Yes. So let's talk to
That
these
makes sense.
people that's got a
Yes.
little extra. Because
Oh,
my
yes.
my
Yes. Yes.
my
Yes.
my motto is either you got extra time or you got extra money.
Yeah.
If you've got extra money,
Yes.
you know what I mean? And you want to support something that's been supporting the community for a very long time. I want you to say yes. And like, if we can maybe grab some sponsors. If
Mm,
you said something like, you know what, I want to make sure every seat is filled. I'm going to buy this up and give these tickets away to folks. Or I want to pay for somebody else's ticket. We can do all kind of fancy creative stuff,
that's great. That's
you
great.
know?
And
So you can scan the QR code. You can go where it's like, because there is a place to donate.
yes.
So that's what we're talking about.
And that's important. And we are kind of, in some ways, under the gun.
Mm-hmm.
And there's even some talk that I may have to change my name
What you mean?
because with all the political stuff, sometimes there are some organizations that they see it's ethnic oriented, they don't fund it. With this whole thing with trying to get rid of DEI and all those things, that's real. So we're hanging on to who we are and what we're trying to do, and us focusing on us and our communities, but inviting everybody to be there because our stories are human stories. But there is this other thing on our shoulder that you know, some people have already had to make some changes like that, unfortunately.
Mm. Okay, let me just take a deep breath here. And this is what I mean. Where like we folks want to get touchy when, I don't know, it seems like it's specifically our stories that people get particularly touchy about. Now, this is why I'm saying, if you're that person and you know that support is great, in person there in the seat, but those of us who have a little extra, you should say yes to support Afro Solo, because this is the kind of, I don't want to say any cuss words inside the Afro Solo takeover on the show today, but this is the kind of stuff that, you know, I don't know, I'm sure we feel some kind of way about all of it. There's all kind of crazy stuff happening in the world. And this type of creativity is the thing that keeps us alive.
Yeah, and
Keeps us alive.
that's where that mustard seed comes in because there are times where we wonder, and that's where the hope comes in. Hope for us, hope for the world, hope
Hmm.
for whatever's in one's heart.
Hmm.
Um, so
It,
I didn't mean for that to be a downer as we get ready.
no, but it makes a
That's the
difference.
reality.
It makes a difference. When we say things like hope in our hearts, it makes a difference. And we were talking about social media and how it can be powerful. It can be powerful for that reason. I have a friend who she got a bunch of social media followers all at once.
Hmm.
Why? Because she gave people, it was people who had a particular ailment, I'll say.
Hmm.
And when she mentioned it, that she said she posted once, and she said, "I'm not going to let this ruin my day." And she did the peace sign. And for some odd reason, the planets aligned because she had given so many people a reason to get out of the bed
Hmm.
that morning. Do you
Hmm.
understand? This is energy. This is spirit. This is that hope in our hearts that we're talking about.
Hmm.
Sometimes you're the only exposure to something positive that somebody's going to get all day. So this is what we're talking about. We get older and we think, oh, creativity, whatever. You know what I'm saying? We start thinking certain things are corny. We start talking about hope and faith and joy. Honey, listen. That's the thing that makes life worth living, especially after you get to a certain age and things start looking different. People are passing on, and your life starts to look and feel different. This is what we have that keeps that joy alive in our lives. So, Hope in Our Hearts is happening this weekend, this Friday. Today's Thursday. This Friday was tomorrow, the 8th.
Yes.
Uh-huh. So the 8th, the ninth, the 10th. Those are the times right up there on the screen. Friday night, 7 p.m. Saturday night, 7 p.m. And Sunday, 3 p.m. We've got four wonderful performers. Tony, Dejon, Cyprien, bringing the bus ride. Michael Warr with Black in San Francisco. The name of my piece is called Soul of the Bay. It's my whole journey on the radio here in the Bay. And Thomas, tell us your title.
The name of my piece is I Was There.
Mm-hmm.
Norma Kathleen Simpson's civil rights journey.
I love
She
these
was
type of
there.
stories. I'm so glad you thought to record, have the conversation. It's such a treasure to look back on conversations and things that happen and have people to tell their stories. That's why the word storytelling is so hot nowadays. So this is a live storytelling theater experience with some, maybe some familiar faces and maybe some folks that you might want to meet and get to know.
Yeah. And as an our story, as I said, I turned it into a podcast, which is going to be a little bit different for us. Um, I was going to say one other thing about people coming to AfroSolo.
Mm-hmm.
We do surveys. And one of the questions has to do you feel better? Like we do it after the show.
Mm-hmm.
And we try to take people's temperature before the show
Mm-hmm.
and then after the show. And probably 95% of the people mark that they feel much better
Yeah,
having
that
come to the
that's it.
show.
That's it.
So
That's it.
coming to the show, I mean, I can't guarantee anything, but based on past experience, you're going to leave feeling a little bit more uplifted and motivated and excited than you were when you first came in.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing from the survey that I'm really excited about is that it opens something up in people to spark and inspire them to do something that they've been wanting to do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
this
that's
becomes
it.
a
That's
spark.
it.
Yeah, I can do this. And that's been really nice to see also.
Yeah, every time I go and sit and have one of these experiences at a show like this, that's exactly, it's like, wow, I love the way this happened. I love what they wrote. I love what they said. What's the sister's name? Augustine.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love to listen. She is a great storyteller, and she is how old is Augustine? She's
She's 84.
and her story is wonderful. She tells it wonderfully. I want to move. I want to get into action on whatever the dream is or whatever the feeling is.
Hmm.
So we can say confidently that that's what's going to happen when you come and check out Hope in Our Hearts this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday afternoon. Scan the
And,
QR code and get your tickets.
and just in case someone doesn't have their phone with them, um, the location is 1695 18th Street in
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco, over in Potrero.
Mm-hmm.
1695 18th Street
Mm-hmm.
uh, in the Potrero district.
Okay. I just put the link in the comments there. Thank you for
Okay,
reminding me to do that.
great.
So there is the link. There is the QR code. And actually, the link is here in the post for the folks who watch this as a replay.
Okay,
The link is the first thing you're going to see, like above the video there. So I made sure to put it in place so that you cannot miss it.
great.
Click, get your tickets, and donate if you can. because this matters.
Yes.
You know what you've put together, it matters. And Thomas, let me just say again, I think you are just, one of the best things about the Bay Area. What you do, the way you bring folks together, that big-hearted pride that we have in being Black and telling our stories. You don't understand how you have really inspired me, and this thing you're saying, this hope in our hearts. I mean, you put so much in there every time I witness, every time we sit down and have a conversation. You truly are one of my favorite folks here in the Bay, and I'm so proud to be a part of this.
Thank you. We're so excited and happy that you're going to make your debut on stage in a while. I know you said that you did it in high school and other places in a
Yes.
while as part of AfroSolo. So we really appreciate you becoming and giving us the trust to become part of the AfroSolo family. And
Mm.
again, I hope people will come out and share your experience, um, so they can experience what you have to share.
Yay. Yeah, I am I feel very humbled and
Mhm.
very excited.
Mhm.
So once again, thank you so much, Thomas. Thank you for being my guest. This is
Thank
Afro
you.
Solo Takeover and Liberation Lounge here. Scan the QR code for tickets or click the link above and get your tickets. And we want to see you this weekend at one or all of these shows. If you come to all three of them, we're not gonna be upset at all. Thank you so much for joining us, Thomas Robert Simpson. He is the artistic director of the Afro Solo Theater in San Francisco. Did you have one more thing you wanted to jump in?
Yeah, there are some people who have come each night to some of the performances, so you're telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And all I want to say is to thank you for allowing me to be here and give a warm, cordial invitation for people to come and share the event with us.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So wonderful. I'm excited. I'm a little bit nervous. When you do something new, you get a little nervous,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
a good kind of nervous.
Actually, after you've done it a few times, I still get nervous. And they say that's part of the process.
Yeah, yeah, but it's a great feeling. That's that affirmation of life when you're just a little bit nervous.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this has been a wonderful conversation. We hope to see you sometime this weekend. Hope in our hearts. It's happening at the Potrero stage in San Francisco, Friday at 7, Saturday at 7, Sunday at 3 p.m. Scan the QR code or go ahead and click the link. We appreciate you watching the video, but if you click that link and get some tickets and donate, that would be even better.
If they get lost and not sure what to do, they can always go to afrosolo.org,
Mm.
and the information is there too.
Okay, if you miss one of these links I just put everywhere, but if something happened and you miss,
Impossible.
if you miss all that,
It's
yes,
afrosolo.org.
afrosolo.org. Thank you so much, Thomas Robert
Thank
Simpson
you.
from Afro Solo Theater. We will see
Brilliant.
you this weekend for Hope in Our Hearts. Thank you for watching Nikki Thomas TV.
Bye bye.
Bye.